the starship Endeavour glided silently through the black velvet of space, its hull reflecting the distant stars like tiny diamonds. Captain Ethan Cross stood on the observation deck, hands clasped behind his back, staring at the swirling blue and green planet below. Xylaris, an uncharted world at the edge of known space, promised both danger and discovery. The crew had been preparing for months, running simulations, studying alien languages, and training for every possible scenario. Yet nothing could fully prepare them for first contact. The planet's surface shimmered with strange bioluminescent forests and rivers of liquid crystal. Ethan could feel the hum of life, even from orbit. He turned to Lieutenant Mara Vance, who was monitoring the ship's sensors. "Life signs are stronger than expected," he said. "This is going to be unlike anything we've ever seen." Mara nodded, her eyes wide with excitement. "The Lumari civilization is highly intelligent," she said. "Their biosignatures are complex. They're definitely advanced." As the Endeavour descended, the crew braced for landing. The shuttle doors opened to reveal a landscape that seemed almost magical. Towering trees with transparent leaves glowed faintly, casting pools of colored light across the soft ground. Strange creatures flitted in the distance, some with wings like glass, others moving in ways that defied human understanding. Yet it was not the forest that caught Ethan's attention. It was the figure waiting for them at the landing site. Lyra, a Lumari woman, stepped forward. Her skin was a delicate shade of silver, and her eyes shimmered with a depth that seemed almost infinite. Her long, flowing hair shifted color with every movement, catching the ambient light. She radiated calm intelligence, yet her gaze was intensely curious. She had been assigned to greet the humans, a role she took seriously, knowing that first impressions mattered for interspecies relations. Ethan descended from the shuttle, extending a hand in greeting. Lyra tilted her head, studying him. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice melodic and precise. "You are the humans who have come from the stars." Ethan smiled, trying to convey openness and trust. "Yes, I'm Captain Ethan Cross, and this is my crew. We come in peace and curiosity." Lyra's eyes flicked to the crew, taking in every detail. Humans were strange to her, with their quick movements, expressive faces, and seemingly chaotic energy. She had studied them for years through remote observation, but nothing prepared her for the reality of standing in their presence. She noted Ethan's calm demeanor and Mara's excitement, and she felt a faint twinge of fascination. Humans were unpredictable, yet something about them felt alive, in a way that her species rarely experienced. Over the next few hours, the humans and Lumari exchanged introductions and knowledge. The Lumari communicated with subtle gestures and inflections, and the humans struggled to fully understand the nuances. Yet Ethan and Lyra found themselves drawn into a dialogue beyond words. They shared information about their respective worlds, technologies, and cultures. Lyra was particularly interested in human biology. Her species valued meticulous planning and slow, deliberate reproduction, while humans were fast, adaptable, and remarkably resilient. As the sun of Xylaris dipped below the horizon, casting the forests in shades of violet and gold, Lyra escorted the humans to a luminescent structure that seemed to grow from the ground itself. Inside, the walls pulsed softly with energy, and the air carried a subtle hum. It was both alien and comforting. "This is our center of learning," Lyra explained. "We believe understanding each other is the first step to harmony." Ethan nodded, impressed. "We agree. Humanity has always thrived on learning from others." They spent hours exploring the structure. Ethan and Lyra discussed everything from the Lumari's advanced energy systems to the way they structured their families and society. Lyra shared her species' cautious approach to reproduction, explaining that every step was planned and monitored. Humans, she noted, were reckless in comparison, yet capable of incredible creativity and resilience. Ethan listened with curiosity, and despite the differences, he felt a connection forming. As the evening deepened, Lyra invited Ethan to a private observation chamber. The room overlooked a valley where bioluminescent plants swayed like waves in a silent ocean. She gestured for him to look closely. "See how life here thrives," she said. "Our species has always valued control and precision. Humans, you are different. Your strength lies in spontaneity and adaptability. I have studied this, but seeing it in person is another matter entirely." Ethan watched the glowing valley, feeling a strange sense of awe. Humans survive because we adapt. We face uncertainty with creativity. It doesn't always work, but we try anyway. Lyra tilted her head, considering his words. Days passed, and the humans integrated more with Lumari society. Ethan and Lyra continued to spend time together, exchanging knowledge, ideas, and small personal stories. Lyra was fascinated by human emotions, their quickness to trust, and the depth of their empathy. She had never encountered a being so unafraid to embrace uncertainty and yet so capable of profound care. She began to see humans in a new light, not just as a species, but as individuals whose uniqueness could challenge her own understanding of life. One evening, after a long day of joint research, Lyra and Ethan sat beneath a canopy of glowing plants. The air was thick with the scent of alien flowers, and the soft hum of the forest surrounded them. Lyra spoke quietly. "Ethan, I must confess something. Your species... It is unlike anything I expected. I have studied humans for decades, but nothing prepared me for this." Ethan looked at her, curiosity in his eyes. "Prepared you for what?" he asked gently. Lyra hesitated, choosing her words carefully. Your reproductive biology," she said. Her voice was tinged with wonder. "It is fast, efficient, and surprisingly straightforward compared to Lumari processes. I did not anticipate this. It is remarkable." Ethan smiled softly, unsure how to respond. Humans have always adapted. Maybe it's part of why we survive. Lyra nodded, though her mind raced with the implications. Over the next few days, Lyra observed herself closely, noting changes in her body that were unprecedented for her species. Her sensors indicated a rapid physiological response after moments spent close to Ethan, something that would take the Lumari years to achieve naturally. She felt a mix of scientific curiosity and personal unease. How could this happen so quickly? Was it a biological anomaly or something else? She could not yet determine, but she knew it was extraordinary. Meanwhile, Ethan continued to build trust with Lumari scientists, sharing human methods for problem-solving and adaptation. They marveled at his ability to improvise under pressure, to think quickly, and to approach challenges with both logic and intuition. Lyra watched silently, feeling admiration for the human capacity to act decisively in ways her species rarely permitted themselves. Humans seemed chaotic, yet their chaos carried a hidden order she could not yet understand. One evening, while monitoring her own physiology, Lyra felt an undeniable realization. She was pregnant. The shock was immediate, intense, and unlike anything she had experienced. Her species had never conceived in such a way after a single encounter, and yet the data was undeniable. Her mind raced, filled with questions about biology, ethics, and the future. She felt a strange mix of fear and awe, realizing that humans carried within them a capability her species had only theorized about. Lyra did not immediately tell Ethan. She needed time to understand, to study herself, and to prepare for the inevitable conversation. Yet every moment she spent with him, watching his kindness, intelligence, and unassuming strength, made her feel a growing connection. This was not just a biological marvel. It was also a meeting of two very different hearts, and she found herself unprepared for the emotions that accompanied the discovery. As the Endeavour prepared to return to orbit, Lyra and Ethan stood together, gazing at the planet that had become a shared home of sorts. "This is just the beginning," Ethan said softly. Lyra nodded, her mind filled with both excitement and uncertainty. "Yes," she replied, "the beginning of something unprecedented." Above them the stars sparkled, silent witnesses to a moment that would shape the future of two species. Lyra could feel the ripple of possibility, the intertwining of human and Lumari destinies, and a story that had only just begun. She had always believed that life followed careful plans and measured steps, yet now she saw that sometimes the extraordinary comes in moments of spontaneity, and that humans, this strange, unpredictable species, might be the key to a new era. The Endeavor lifted off, leaving the glowing forests behind. Lyra stood watching until the shuttle disappeared into the sky. She could not predict what would come next, but one thing was certain: everything had changed. And deep inside, she felt both fear and hope, knowing that the universe had just revealed a mystery she could never have imagined, and that humans were at the center of it. The days after Lyra's discovery passed in a blur of thought, research, and quiet reflection. She moved through her daily routine with her usual grace, yet beneath the calm surface, her mind raced. The physiological signs were clear. She was pregnant. A single encounter with Captain Ethan Cross had produced something her species had never seen before. Lyra's heart beat faster every time she considered the implications. The Lumari had always planned every detail of reproduction, carefully monitoring genetics, health, and timing. Yet humans operated on spontaneity, and somehow that unpredictability had created life. Lyra spent long hours in her private quarters, studying her body with advanced Lumari sensors. She watched the changes unfolding in ways she had never observed in her species. Every pulse of energy, every hormonal fluctuation, was unlike anything the Lumari had documented. She marveled at the efficiency and resilience of human biology. Even though her initial shock lingered, a growing sense of awe replaced the fear. Humans, she realized, carried potential that the Lumari could only dream of. Meanwhile, Captain Ethan Cross noticed subtle changes in Lyra's behavior. She was more contemplative, occasionally distant, and her curiosity seemed tinged with personal emotion. He had sensed a closeness growing between them, a trust beyond professional interaction. Yet he was careful to remain respectful, aware that the Lumari were cautious by nature. "Lyra," he said one afternoon as they reviewed environmental data. "You seem distracted. Is everything all right?" She looked at him, eyes shimmering with a mix of emotions, and shook her head. "I am adjusting to new information," she admitted. "It is something I cannot yet explain." Ethan nodded, his calm reassurance offering her a small comfort. "Whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone," he said. Lyra spent nights studying human biology further, reading every piece of research Ethan had shared. She compared human reproduction to Lumari practices, noting the incredible differences. Humans could conceive quickly, often with minimal planning, yet their offspring were strong and adaptable. The more she learned, the more she admired the human species. It was not reckless, it was bold, resilient, and capable of creating life in ways her species could barely comprehend. She felt a strange connection to Ethan, not only because of their shared experience, but also because of what humans represented: potential, unpredictability, and hope. Despite her scientific approach, Lyra could not ignore the emotional dimension. The realization that she was carrying life linked to a human stirred feelings she had never encountered. Lumari relationships were structured, formal, and carefully orchestrated. Human emotions, on the other hand, were spontaneous and raw. She found herself drawn to Ethan's kindness, intelligence, and unpretentious nature. Each interaction deepened her fascination and respect. She began to understand that this pregnancy was not only a biological miracle, but also a bridge between two species, a connection that could reshape their understanding of life itself. Lyra decided it was time to share her discovery with the Lumari Council. They would need to monitor her progress and offer guidance. but she was also aware that their reaction might not be entirely welcoming. The council had long adhered to tradition, valuing order and control above all else. A hybrid conception, unplanned and rapid, could be seen as a threat. She steeled herself for the meeting, preparing both data and a careful explanation of human biology. When the council convened, Lyra presented her findings with clarity and precision. Holographic displays showed her body's responses, hormonal patterns, and growth indicators. The elder Lumari listened, their faces a mixture of curiosity, concern, and disbelief. This is boo. Unprecedented, one elder finally said. The human influence is faster than anything we anticipated. How can this be safe? Lyra explained, emphasizing the human strengths, adaptability, resilience, and rapid biological response. The offspring is healthy, she assured them. Human biology is robust. There is no immediate danger. The council remained skeptical, but Lyra's careful explanation and clear data gradually softened their resistance. Some younger Lumari, curious and open-minded, saw potential rather than threat. They discussed possibilities for cross-species collaboration, monitoring techniques, and cultural exchange. Slowly, the council agreed to support Lyra, though they insisted on careful observation and strict adherence to Lumari medical protocols. Ethan learned of Lyra's meeting with the council and offered his support. He admired her bravery and dedication to both science and her species. "I'll help in any way I can," he told her. "We'll navigate this together." Lyra smiled faintly, grateful for his presence. Even though humans were unpredictable, Ethan's steady support gave her confidence. She realized that unlike the Lumari, humans embraced uncertainty with courage. That courage, she thought, might be the key to guiding both species into a new future. As the weeks progressed, Lyra's pregnancy developed at a remarkable pace. Lumari scientists marveled at the rapid growth and resilience of the hybrid embryo. Ethan spent hours with her, monitoring progress, discussing scientific observations, and learning Lumari customs. Their collaboration deepened, blending human intuition with Lumari precision. Each day, Lyra felt more confident in the uniqueness of their situation. The pregnancy was not just a biological event. It was an extraordinary bridge between worlds, a living symbol of possibility. Yet challenges arose. Some Lumari elders remained cautious, expressing concern about cultural disruption and potential social unrest. Hybrid offspring were rare, and this situation was entirely unprecedented. Lyra faced scrutiny, judgment, and even quiet suspicion. She remained composed, relying on scientific evidence and her growing trust in Ethan. Together, they navigated political tension with patience and respect, demonstrating the power of cooperation and understanding. During quiet moments, Ethan and Lyra shared conversations beyond science. They discussed dreams, fears, and hopes for the future. Lyra found herself laughing more often, feeling emotions she had long set aside in favor of reason. Humans had a way of connecting that transcended logic, and Ethan embodied that connection. He did not judge her, he listened. He offered reassurance without pressure. His presence was calming, grounding, and inspiring. Lyra realized that the hybrid child growing inside her represented more than biological novelty. It symbolized trust, partnership, and a merging of worlds. The future of Lumari and humans alike could be shaped by this unprecedented connection. She allowed herself to imagine a society where collaboration replaced fear, where differences became strengths rather than divisions. The thought filled her with cautious optimism. One evening, as the bioluminescent forest glowed softly beneath the twin moons of Xylaris, Ethan and Lyra walked together along a winding path. The air was alive with faint hums of alien creatures, the scent of flowering plants rich and intoxicating. Lyra paused, looking up at the sky. "I never imagined this could happen," she said quietly. That a human could create life so quickly, so naturally. Ethan smiled, his gaze steady. Life has a way of surprising us, he said, and sometimes those surprises are gifts. Lyra nodded, feeling a warmth spread through her chest. She understood that humans carried not just biological strength, but emotional depth, an ability to act with care, courage, and love. As her pregnancy progressed, Lyra's confidence grew. She began sharing her experiences with other Lumari, explaining the uniqueness of human biology and the potential benefits of cross-species cooperation. Some remained cautious, but curiosity replaced fear in many hearts. Ethan continued to support her, offering insight, care, and quiet encouragement. Together they laid the foundation for understanding, respect, and collaboration between two very different civilizations. Lyra also felt a growing sense of personal transformation. Her scientific mind, once rigid and precise, had expanded to accommodate the unexpected. Human spontaneity had challenged her assumptions, teaching her that life was not always predictable, yet it could still thrive in remarkable ways. She found herself embracing the unknown, guided by trust, curiosity, and the quiet strength of the human beside her. By the time the first trimester ended, Lyra's body had adapted remarkably well. The Lumari medical team praised the embryo's health, noting the resilience inherited from both species. Ethan marveled at the science unfolding before them, yet he was also deeply moved by the emotional journey they shared. They had navigated uncertainty, fear, and skepticism, and now stood at the threshold of something extraordinary. One night, as they observed the glowing forests from the observation tower, Ethan spoke softly. "Lyra, I know this has been overwhelming, but we've learned so much, not just about biology, but about each other. You've taught me about your world, and your world is teaching me about life itself." Lyra looked at him, her eyes reflecting the light of the alien moons. "And you've taught me about humanity," she replied. "About courage, adaptability, and connection. Perhaps this child will carry those lessons forward." In the quiet hum of the observation tower, Lyra felt a profound sense of purpose. She was no longer just a scientist observing life. She was a participant in something extraordinary. Human biology, with all its unpredictability and resilience, had created a bridge between species. The hybrid child she carried was more than an embryo. It was a symbol of hope, unity, and the potential for a shared future. As Part 2 drew to a close, the stage was set for new challenges. Cultural tensions, political scrutiny, and the unknowns of hybrid development loomed on the horizon. Yet Lyra and Ethan faced them with growing confidence, strengthened by trust, understanding, and the quiet knowledge that humans, with their adaptability and courage, had already changed the course of life on Xylaris forever. The weeks turned into months, and Lyra's pregnancy became the focus of both scientific fascination and societal curiosity. News of her condition spread quietly among the Lumari, and reactions were mixed. Many younger Lumari were fascinated, eager to learn about the merging of two species. They marveled at the possibilities, hybrid strength, new perspectives, and the potential for knowledge that neither species could achieve alone. Yet among the elders, skepticism lingered. Some worried that a child born of human and Lumari parents might upset social norms, challenge traditions, or create unforeseen complications. Lyra spent her days in research and observation, but her thoughts often drifted to the questions of the future. How would society accept her child? What responsibilities would Ethan and she share across their species? And most importantly, how would she raise a life that carried both the unpredictability of humanity and the careful design of the Lumari? Every moment reminded her that this was not just a biological experiment, it was a profound experiment in understanding, cooperation, and trust. Ethan remained a constant presence. He was patient, thoughtful, and quietly supportive, never pressuring Lyra, yet always there to answer questions, help with research, or simply share a moment of calm. His presence reassured her in ways that no technology or science could. During their walks through the luminescent forests of Xylaris, he would point out patterns in the plants, draw parallels between human and Lumari behavior, or simply tell stories of Earth. Lyra listened, fascinated not just by his words, but by the way he saw the world, with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to adapt. One day, a delegation of elder Lumari approached her with cautious expressions. They had observed the changes, read the reports, and discussed the implications among themselves. "Lyra," one elder began, "we acknowledge your observations and the care you have taken. But there remain concerns. Your child is unlike anything our species has ever seen. What safeguards are in place to ensure cultural stability?" Lyra took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "The child will be healthy," she replied, "and we will follow all necessary precautions. But this is not only about stability, it is about understanding. Humans bring resilience, adaptability, and innovation. These are qualities that can benefit all of us." The elders exchanged glances, some unconvinced, others intrigued. One of the younger council members spoke up. "Perhaps we have been too cautious," she said. "If the child grows healthy, it may demonstrate that cooperation between species is not only possible, but beneficial." Lyra felt a small surge of hope. She knew that winning over the elders would take time, but each step forward was progress. As the hybrid child grew within her, Lyra began to notice extraordinary developments. The child growth rate was faster than Lumari norms, but perfectly balanced, showing signs of strength, intelligence, and adaptability inherited from both parents. Lumari scientists conducted careful monitoring, fascinated by the resilience of human biology and its compatibility with their own. They marveled at how seamlessly the hybrid development was proceeding. Even the skeptics could not deny the marvel of what was unfolding. Ethan continued to support Lyra, spending hours discussing research, analyzing data, and preparing for the future. They debated ethics, medical care, and social integration. Ethan's humanity, his patience, empathy, and foresight, became a guiding force in Lyra's life. The more time she spent with him, the more she realized that humans were not only capable of creating life efficiently, but also capable of fostering trust, connection, and understanding in ways her species often lacked. Despite the progress, tensions remained. Some Lumari elders held secret meetings to discuss the implications of the hybrid child. They feared change, worried that humans could influence their society in unpredictable ways. Lyra sensed their unease, but she remained calm. She knew that fear often preceded understanding. The key was patience, transparency, and demonstrating the value of cooperation. During a council review, Lyra and Ethan presented detailed reports on the child's development. "The hybrid exhibits remarkable resilience," Lyra explained. "Physical growth is consistent and healthy. Cognitive functions are developing normally. There is no indication of complications. The child embodies the strengths of both species." Ethan added, "We have monitored environmental adaptations, immune response, and social interaction tendencies. The data confirms that the child will be capable of thriving in both human and Lumari environments."
The council listened intently, their skepticism slowly giving way to curiosity.
Questions followed. How would the child adapt to Lumari customs? Could human emotional tendencies be integrated without conflict? Lyra answered each question with scientific precision and thoughtful insight. Slowly, the tone of the room shifted. What had begun as concern was now cautious optimism. Outside the council chambers, Lyra and Ethan walked through the glowing forests. The air was thick with the scent of alien flora, and the soft hum of life surrounded them. Lyra reflected on the journey so far. She had faced fear, doubt, and the unknown. She had confronted her own assumptions about life and adaptation, and she had discovered that humans, through their courage, empathy, and adaptability, could create possibilities that even her advanced species could not imagine. Ethan turned to her, his expression gentle. "You're doing more than carrying a child," he said. "You're showing our species' ability to connect, to adapt, and to create hope." Lyra smiled, feeling warmth in her chest. "And you are showing me that life can be more than rules and precision," she replied. "Sometimes the unexpected is what leads to greatness." As the months passed, the bond between Lyra and Ethan grew stronger. They shared quiet conversations, laughter, and moments of reflection beneath the alien moons. Lyra observed her own emotions shifting, feeling affection, trust, and a profound connection that transcended biology. Ethan, in turn, was captivated by Lyra's intelligence, grace, and courage. Together they navigated the unknown, bridging the gap between human spontaneity and Lumari precision. Challenges persisted. Some Lumari still questioned the child's place in their society. Cultural debates emerged about the meaning of hybrid life, the ethics of cross-species collaboration, and the potential impact on future generations. Lyra faced criticism and doubt, yet she remained composed, relying on science, reason, and the quiet strength of human companionship. Each day brought new discoveries, new insights, and a growing awareness that humans had a unique role in shaping the future. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the glowing forests, Lyra and Ethan sat in a quiet clearing. The hybrid child within her stirred, a gentle reminder of the extraordinary journey they shared. Lyra placed a hand on her abdomen, feeling the subtle movements. "This child is a bridge," she said softly. "A connection between our species, a symbol of cooperation and hope." Ethan nodded, his hand covering hers. "And it's proof that humans can do more than survive," he said. "We can inspire, create, and unite. This is what makes us extraordinary." The weeks that followed brought both scientific triumphs and social lessons. Lumari scientists documented the child's rapid progress, noting how human adaptability complemented Lumari precision. Ethnologists observed the growing interactions between humans and Lumari, finding that shared experience, patience, and empathy created bonds stronger than fear or tradition. The hybrid child became a living experiment, not of manipulation, but of cooperation, trust, and understanding. Lyra felt a growing sense of responsibility. She was no longer just a scientist observing life. She was shaping it, nurturing it, and protecting it. The child represented the best of both species, a symbol of possibility that transcended boundaries. Every decision she made, every step she took, carried weight far beyond her own life. And yet, she was not alone. Ethan's presence, guidance, and unwavering support made the journey manageable, inspiring her to embrace the unknown with confidence. One day, as they reviewed the latest data in the observation tower, Ethan smiled. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a projection of the child's growth patterns. "Everything is within healthy ranges. The child is strong, adaptable, and thriving, just as we hoped." Lyra studied the projection, her heart swelling with pride. "It is remarkable," she said. "I never imagined this could happen." "Humans truly are extraordinary." Ethan laughed softly, a sound that was both comforting and joyful. "And so are you, Lyra," he replied. "You've shown courage, intelligence, and compassion. You've taught both our species something invaluable. That understanding and trust can create life in ways rules never could." Lyra felt a warmth she could not describe. In that moment, she realized that the hybrid child was not just a symbol of science. It was a testament to connection, courage, and the power of humanity. As the third trimester approached, the stage was set for the final chapter of this extraordinary journey. Cultural debates continued, scientific observation intensified, and the anticipation of birth filled every corner of Xylaris. Yet through it all, Lyra and Ethan remained grounded, guided by trust, understanding, and the quiet knowledge that humans had already transformed the course of two species forever. In the glowing forests beneath the twin moons, Lyra stood silently, feeling the gentle stir of life within her. She thought of the challenges faced, the discoveries made, and the connections formed. She thought of Ethan, of the humans, and of the possibilities that awaited. And she understood, with quiet certainty, that the hybrid child growing inside her was more than an experiment, more than a miracle. It was a bridge to a future filled with hope, cooperation, and extraordinary potential. The future was uncertain, as all futures are, but Lyra faced it with courage. She had seen firsthand what humans could achieve, how they could inspire, and how they could adapt. And she knew that when the time came, the child she carried would enter a universe that was ready, finally, to embrace something new, something remarkable, something that could unite worlds. The final weeks of Lyra's pregnancy passed with a mix of anticipation and quiet wonder. The Lumari Council had grown increasingly supportive, cautiously optimistic about the child's development. Scientists continued to monitor her closely, fascinated by the seamless blending of human and Lumari biology. Every measurement, every observation confirmed what Lyra had suspected all along. The child was healthy, strong, and uniquely capable of thriving in both worlds. Ethan remained by her side throughout. He moved through the luminous corridors of Xylaris with the calm confidence of someone who had faced countless unknowns. Yet this felt different. This was not only about survival or exploration. It was about life itself.
"You're doing amazing,"
he said softly one evening as Lyra rested in her quarters. "Our child is already teaching both our species something incredible." Lyra smiled, feeling a wave of warmth and gratitude. "And you've taught me that trust, courage, and patience can carry us through even the most uncertain paths." As the day of birth approached, the Lumari Council organized a special observatory room designed to accommodate the needs of both Lyra and the child. It was spacious, softly glowing, with advanced monitoring technologies seamlessly integrated into the environment. Scientists from both species prepared for every possible scenario, ensuring that Lyra would be safe and the birth would proceed smoothly. The labor began quietly, with Lyra feeling the familiar rhythms of life moving within her. Each contraction brought a mixture of anticipation and awe. She gripped Ethan's hand, finding comfort in the steady strength of his presence. "We're ready," he whispered. "You're ready." She nodded, drawing on every lesson she had learned: scientific knowledge, trust in human resilience, and the calm support of someone who cared deeply. The hours passed slowly, each moment filled with quiet focus. Lumari medical specialists observed carefully, occasionally adjusting instruments or offering guidance, but the process was natural, harmonious, and surprisingly fast. Lyra marveled at her own body, at the human ability to adapt and endure, and at the incredible synergy between her physiology and the child growing within her. It was unlike anything the Lumari had ever experienced, yet it was perfectly balanced. Finally, after a long and intense night, the first cries of the hybrid child filled the observatory. Lyra and Ethan looked at each other, tears of joy glistening in their eyes. The child was beautiful, a perfect blend of Lumari elegance and human resilience. Its eyes shimmered with a depth that seemed to reflect the possibilities of both species. Lumari scientists monitored the child closely, confirming its health and vitality. Every metric was perfect. The child's heartbeat was strong, breathing steady, and energy levels high. The council entered the room shortly afterward, silent observers who could not hide their awe. The elders who had once expressed doubt now regarded the child with cautious admiration. "This is extraordinary," one elder said, his voice trembling slightly. "The child embodies what we feared and yet what we hoped for. It is a testament to cooperation and understanding." Younger Lumari nodded enthusiastically, their excitement barely contained. They approached the child with gentle curiosity, marveling at the unique combination of traits inherited from both species. Lyra held her child close, feeling warmth and love unlike anything she had known. Ethan rested his hand gently on her shoulder, a silent acknowledgement of their shared journey. "It's perfect," Lyra whispered. "Stronger than I imagined, and yet so delicate." Ethan smiled, his eyes reflecting the quiet pride he felt. "It's a beginning," he said. "A new chapter for both our species." In the following weeks, life adjusted to this new reality. The hybrid child grew quickly, displaying extraordinary adaptability. Lumari scientists documented its rapid learning, advanced motor skills, and unusual curiosity. Humans, they discovered, carried traits that complemented Lumari precision with innovation, emotional intelligence, and resilience. The child became a symbol not only of biological compatibility, but of the potential for unity between species. Lyra and Ethan devoted themselves to the child's development, blending human nurturing with Lumari guidance. They taught lessons about both worlds, encouraging curiosity, respect, and empathy. The child learned quickly, displaying abilities that amazed even the most experienced Lumari educators. It adapted to both cultures with ease, a living bridge between worlds that seemed to carry the best of both species in its being. As news of the hybrid child spread across Xylaris, humans and Lumari alike celebrated the achievement. The story of Lyra and Ethan's collaboration became legendary, inspiring others to pursue understanding rather than fear. Scientists explored new ways to cooperate, educators developed cross-cultural programs, and communities began to embrace diversity and shared knowledge. The child's existence became a beacon of possibility, proof that two very different species could create life together, thrive, and learn from one another. Amid these celebrations, Lyra reflected on the journey she had taken. From the first encounter with humans to the unexpected pregnancy, every moment had challenged her assumptions, stretched her understanding, and deepened her empathy. She had learned that life could be extraordinary when approached with courage, curiosity, and trust. Humans, she realized, were capable of inspiring change simply by being themselves, adaptable, resilient, and willing to embrace the unknown. He had come to Xylaris as an explorer, a scientist, and a representative of humanity. Yet the experience had taught him more than he could have imagined. He had witnessed courage, intelligence, and beauty in a species far more advanced than humanity. Yet he had also seen that humans possessed something equally remarkable: the ability to connect, adapt, and inspire. The hybrid child, he understood, was living proof of that extraordinary potential. Over time, the child's presence began to reshape Lumari society. Traditionalists who had once feared change grew to appreciate the child's unique qualities. Young Lumari saw the benefits of cooperation, empathy, and trust in action. Cultural exchanges flourished, joint scientific ventures expanded, and a new era of understanding emerged. Humans, through their uniqueness, had become a source of inspiration, a reminder that unpredictability, adaptability, and emotional intelligence could drive progress in ways no species alone could achieve. Lyra often watched her child play beneath the glowing trees, marveling at its energy, curiosity, and intelligence. Every movement, every sound, every interaction seemed to reflect both human spontaneity and Lumari grace. She felt a profound sense of hope. This child, born of two worlds, could lead by example, demonstrating the power of collaboration, understanding, and compassion. Ethan knelt beside her one afternoon, pointing to the way the child navigated the forest with remarkable balance. Look at that," he said softly. "It's not just growing, it's thriving. It's learning from both worlds and creating something new in the process."
Lyra nodded, smiling. "It is more than I could have imagined."
Humans and Lumari. Together, we've created something truly extraordinary. The years that followed saw the hybrid child grow into a symbol of possibility. It became a bridge between cultures, a living example of what could be achieved through cooperation and understanding. Humans continued to explore Xylaris, sharing knowledge, adapting to Lumari ways, and inspiring curiosity. The planet itself became a hub for cross-species collaboration where science, culture, and life intertwined in new and remarkable ways. Lyra and Ethan, now partners in both life and exploration, reflected on the journey that had begun with a single encounter. They had faced uncertainty, skepticism, and unprecedented challenges, yet together they had created something far greater than themselves. The hybrid child was not only a miracle of biology, it was a testament to the extraordinary potential of humanity. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the luminescent forests, Lyra and Ethan stood hand in hand, watching their child explore the world with wide-eyed wonder. "We've changed everything," Lyra whispered. "For both our species." Ethan squeezed her hand gently. "Yes," he replied, "and it all started with trust, courage, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. That's what makes humans extraordinary." In the quiet glow of Xylaris, the three of them looked toward the stars. The universe was vast, full of possibilities, and waiting for those willing to take the first step. Lyra felt a deep sense of peace and hope, knowing that the hybrid child carried within it not just the potential of two species, but the promise of a future where cooperation, understanding, and courage could shape worlds. And so life continued, bright, thriving, and full of wonder. The child grew, humans and Lumari worked together, and the galaxy saw a new chapter unfold, one in which humanity's unique qualities of resilience, adaptability, and empathy had proven themselves once again, not through conquest or power, but through the simplest and most profound act of all, creating life, nurturing it, and inspiring hope. The stars above Xylaris shone brighter than ever, as if acknowledging a future shaped by trust, courage, and the extraordinary potential of humanity. The journey of Lyra, Ethan, and their child was only the beginning, but it was a beginning that would echo through generations, a testament to the power of connection, understanding, and the human spirit.